going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC reality check. This is your preview for NXT Roadblock, aka NXT at MSG, aka the go home show for Stand and Deliver. Oi, oi, oi. And that is Jake fucking DeMarco. What's going on?
Yeah! Cannot wait. I am so pumped for this show. I have been needing this, as silly as it sounds. Revolution did not scratch that pay-per-view itch that I've had. And the chamber was decent, but very short and pretty much a foregone conclusion. The Rumble was fun. It had some moments, but I haven't felt this kind of like interest since before John Cena retired. I am sucked into NXT right now. They are delivering again on a very strong note because they're utilizing all of their characters, not just the top, not just the middle. You know, they've got everybody doing something that matters. And that's a key detail that NXT started to get away from for a little bit, where they'd have this one throughput narrative. But we got a lot to break down and discuss today, my friend. It's an epic week.
I'll say something a little bit different. I'm not super stoked for this show, but that is okay because that's not what this show is here.
No, I'm stoked for Stand and Deliver. This show is the building blocks. Yeah. Less about the Tuesday, but the week that leads into.
Yes. I am super stoked for this show to get me stoked for Stand and Deliver, if that makes any sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, before we get into anything, because we are going to talk about a few newses and notes before we get into the actual proper preview, I announced something during our Sacrifice preview that apparently I didn't explain very well because a lot of people came to me with questions afterwards. For this new prediction game that we are playing in recognition of me reaching 1,500 subs, and by the way, thank you to all of you once again, here is how the game is going to work. Jake and I are going to preview some matches for a pay-per-view, or in this case, a special event. Whatever matches we preview, in this case, it's going to be 5. Go to the comment section of this video, not in the chat, because if you guys throw it in the chat, I'm going to lose it. Hello to everybody in the chat. Love you guys. Love to talk to you guys while we're doing this live right now. But this is specifically in the comment section. Leave matches that we talk about today and one other random prediction. That random prediction could be, hey, I think somebody's going to come back. That random prediction could be, hey, I think somebody might not show up, which would be super unfortunate. That prediction may be, hey, I think they changed this about the venue, or maybe we'll have a different commentator. Make one random, out of the blue, pull it out of the sky prediction that you think will happen on this show, along with the prediction for the 5 matches we're going to talk about today. But the key point is in the comment section of the video, not the chat. If you throw it in the chat, I'm going to lose it in the chat feed. And as I said before, I'm broke as a joke. There are no prizes. Your prize will be, if you get everything correct, including your random prediction, you get a shout out in the next pod. That's all. Not
only will you get a shout out, but I will also give you an excellent shout out on our show as well to promote Spaz's prediction. So Spaz will let me know who comes the closest to getting them all right. And if anybody does, we'll give you one hell of a celebration.
Fantastic. So double shout out, but no actual prizes because you're talking to 2 broke boys here. But for anybody that wasn't clear about it last time, that's how it works. Take your predictions, throw them down in the comment section below, add your one random out of the blue suggestion. And because I'm super creative and I wasn't just going to call this it's the pay-per-view preview and prediction game thing, because I'm so super original, we are calling this game Predicto.
Ooh, Predicto. I'm digging that.
Yes, it's lame on purpose. Anyways, we do have a couple other things to talk about before we get to Roadblock, primarily surrounding the Sacrifice show that happened on Friday. We didn't do much of I don't know if you did a review of it. I didn't do a review of it.
No.
But lots of it was a very Friday. It was a very Friday show, so there's not much match-wise to talk about. I wanted to take a look at some of the necessarily not match-related news that came out of the show. First and foremost, I know it's not for everybody. It is one of those things that definitely can exist in TNA and not necessarily other places. Everything they're doing right now with Rosemary and potentially the return of Decay is awesome, if you're me.
Now, I'm enjoying it as well, honestly. I think this is a lot of fun because they kind of didn't know what to do with the character then, and it was during the shutdown still, and people were kind of like, eh. So they were killing off characters just because people were leaving. They didn't think they'd ever be coming back, and it works out because hey, she's back. That's great. Didn't work with AEW with her being the bunny, with the Butcher and the Blade. They could have been tag champs, with her as a manager. She should have had a bigger role because she was always dependable. She was a lot of fun in TNA and a good regular to have on their TV. So it looks like a lot of people are excited now to see, her go ahead and be resurrected. And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is what needs to happen in wrestling. Wrestling,
My thing
I don't know how to
is
tell you
like,
this, but it's
yeah,
not real, Spaz.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
no, really, it's not real. If you
So
look on Facebook, they think it's real, but it's not real.
you know who needs to hear it's not real? The amount of people that I've seen today, and it's like, oh my god, I can't believe they're putting Jelly Roll in the main event scene of WrestleMania. They're not. He's
A
collateral damage,
and
just like
any scene they
Cardona
put him
was. Just
in,
like it's
yeah.
fun. And he doesn't take himself too seriously, which is awesome. The alley stuff coming back with Rosemary is not the biggest part for me. Like I'm happy for her, happy to see her again. She's a fun character. She's
Yeah,
a fun counter to the deep dark Rosemary character. But as they've gone through these like Quentin Tarantino like little horror movie shorts that she's doing with the to be continued kind of like a dead Kill Bill type character,
yes.
but she's going through her history. Like she went and she talked to Raven, and Johnny Swinger was there for some reason. But then you see the return of Havoc, and you see the return of Crazy Steve.
Crazy
And
Steve!
I don't know if they'll touch him at this point, but maybe we get a cameo from Sinister Minister along the
Oh,
way.
I'll touch him.
So and the drugs.
Yeah.
But it seems like not only is she bringing like be as cliche as you want, like bringing the family back together, bringing the Decay family back together. Obviously, it's not going to have Abyss because Chris Park doesn't wrestle anymore. But it looks like she's also got her eye on recruiting slash quote unquote corrupting Mara Sade, which is kind of
Mm.
cool because I
And
really like
and
what
I've
they did.
also heard that Chris Park may make an appearance at some point as Abyss, not to wrestle,
Oh yeah,
but
no,
to
as
to
as
be
a as
part of
a
it.
cameo, like for the lineage of it and whatever, that'd be absolutely fine. I mean, he showed up as Abyss for the AJ Styles send off, which I thought was
Yes,
really cool.
indeed.
But he's not
Excellent way to
gonna
do it.
like the tag team of him and Crazy Steve isn't gonna come back and wrestle again. Is more
No.
where I was going with that. But the idea of them trying to, or I should say them, but like Rosemary potentially, trying to do some sort of recruitment of Mara Sade is a really interesting thing because Mara Sade is already super over. She looks like $1,000,000 since going to TNA. She did have a pretty kick-ass no DQ match with what's her name? Elena Black on Friday
Yes.
as well. But the bigger story is like, why is maybe Decay looking at her as a potential like I don't know
I just really like
confidant
the
new
fact that
member?
she
Yeah,
won.
yeah.
I was not expecting that to happen. I was thinking that, Elena Black might
Elena
win
Black
as
was
much
gonna
as I
win.
like
Yeah.
Sade.
I think they know they've got a star on their hands with her, and they've got a good women's division with not a lot of people that feel like top people. I'm all for them bringing in new stars like Harley Hudson and the other girl whose name I can't remember that are hanging out with Jody Threat, and you've got these fun little clusters of people, but there's like a small handful, and I'm sorry, Tessa Blanchard's on the top of that list right now, that feel like this is the person in the division. And it feels like they're intentionally not putting her in the title picture just yet. The title is still on Ariana Grace. We've been
Yeah.
over that enough times. The match sort of went the way it went because Stax was there to help out. But before that, I thought the match was decent. Everybody was kind of bummed by the result, but it's a result you're supposed to be bummed about. So how much can you really complain about it? But Mara Sade is one of those ones that I could see with not even that much of a push getting up to a Tessa Blanchard and having a believable match. I'm already thinking about when Tessa Blanchard has the title and who they can send after her to get it. Whereas I used to be thinking of like, okay, they're not going to put the title on Tessa right away because people on the internet are going to cry, but eventually they'll get her to the title. And I was thinking about that for a long time. And now I'm like, she's the final boss bad guy right now. Who do you build up to face her once she's there? And
Yeah.
right now, Mara Sade is one of my top runners. I know Danny Luna's another heel, so you could do heel versus heel. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Who's the bigger bitch type of thing. But as
Yeah,
far as your like smiling Snow White baby face, Mara Sade is it. Unless you want
she
to really
is.
boost up, like a super feel good fan favorite like a Zaya Brookside, but she's got a title match literally this coming Thursday, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But in
I mean,
general,
speaking of the
Mara,
women's division, Spaz, I mean, there's so many great women there right now that
yep,
just need time. They need seasoning. They need to keep
yes,
wrestling. They need to keep talking in front of audiences. And the thing with TNA, I noticed lately, like it felt more kind of the land of opportunity before. I feel like we're feeling, seeming, kind of seeing the same faces lately. Um, a lot of the
it's
same
true.
matchups and the same
They're
like,
they're
as
guilt
where
they're
before
guilty of a lot of
TNA was like
repetitiveness. Yeah,
yeah, as where before TNA kind of felt like a fever dream in a way because it was all over the place. No drugs needed. You have this match and then you have that match and they'll have the continuing story, but there was always like, well, why is Nick Nemeth coming out now to confront, you know, it would just kind of happen and develop and it would connect, but it was
yeah,
and since Gail Kim left, you know, all that whole issue, they just said that the lawsuit with TNA against Gail Kim reportedly is set for arbitration. And,
okay,
you know, she was facing legal scrutiny from Anthem and TNA because the 7-time former knockout champion, they said that she violated the Florida Private Whistleblower Act, speaking about TNA, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. So a little bit of update there. But yeah, you know,
I'm
the
sorry.
women's division
And
has
this is not
something.
even specifically directed at TNA. This is not specifically directed at Gail Kim. I like TNA and I like Gail Kim. But the minute you start complaining about whistleblowers, it's like, why are you upset that people are looking at you? You must be doing something. You know what I mean? I'm not
Exactly.
taking a
It's a
side on
terrible
this.
look.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not taking a side on this. But it's like the only thing I can think of in the real world is okay, you got cops and criminals. Who's the more guilty one? Probably the ones that are complaining about cameras.
Yeah.
Just saying. And that could be on either side as well. Let me be clear before I try to screw myself into the floor by using a real example for once. Um, but yeah, no, it's all unfortunate because right now, if she's in a legal battle of some description, it means that nobody else is going to want to touch her right now either. And I know a lot of people were saying they wanted to see her in AEW, and it's like they don't produce their women, but I mean, I'm sure she could lend some advice in that regard.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor for a little while when what's her name when Ava left uh NXT that Gail Kim was going to be the new NXT GM, which I think would be a really interesting new wrinkle. I don't know whether she would like come in and be like a straight faced GM or would you want her to be more of a character or whatever. But and no offense to WWE or AEW or anybody else, but you don't really want to onboard somebody who's in the middle of like legal action with another company.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's all messy and it's all unfortunate. And I'm pretty sure it's the other thing about it as well with the women's division. When I say like main roster stars, like you had Deonna Purrazzo, you had Mickey James, and then things kind of filtered down and they passed their respective torches on to Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
Jordan Grace passed on her torch as like being the leader of the women's division to Masha Slamovich. Master Slamovich had an ongoing thing going with Killer Kelly. Now, the outside of wrestling issues that have to do with Masha Slamovich aside, what you did there was you decided that your next two big names were going to be Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly because, you know, Tessa Blanchard was kind of like the black spot option, and so the whole head of your main event scene there in the women's division kind of got chopped off when Masha got taken out, and I don't know what Killer Kelly is doing these days.
Yeah,
Uh,
no. That's what I'm
because
saying. It feels like
she's with Myron Reed, is she not? I thought
I
I heard
thought
that or
so.
saw some yeah. Not that that's a bad thing. Like if they're together, that's cool. That's happy for them and all that kind of thing. But if that's a thing, does she get sucked into the AEW vortex at some point?
Yeah,
So you got big
exactly.
names, big names, big names. Mickey James is like tried to retire for the second or third time. Jordan Grace went over to NXT, is now in WWE. Masha Slamovich got what she got, and Killer Kelly's missing. So you've got a very, very, very cool, like almost everybody's in the upper mid card. and then Tessa Blanchard, who they are a little gun shy to put a belt on. So they have a roster, it doesn't have a head.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's the
And
problem.
typically we're
But
dealing
I
with the
do think,
Hydra with 3 heads, and now you're having
yeah,
none. So it gets to be
especially with and I don't want to say just if you stick around long enough, people will like you eventually. But they just spent most of last year on their social media celebrating Rosemary's 10 years with the company.
yeah,
And everybody
exactly.
popped and it becomes the conversation whenever she's on TV. And Mara Sade is like the new most successful, like, uprising star and whatever. So whatever they're doing together, whether Mara Sade gets like sucked into decay for a little bit or whether she rejects it and has a feud, I'm sorry, Mara Sade versus Rosemary and potentially the rest of Decay is going to be more interesting than whoever's holding the belt at the moment. And that's not always a bad thing, but they need me to care about that main title too, I'm assuming.
Yes.
But
And that's
bottom
the
line,
thing, trying
I
to
like
get
creepy
to
stuff.
care. Yeah, it's hard
I like creepy
because
stuff, so the Rosemary stuff's got my attention more.
yeah, that's why I wish the Wyatt Six were doing more. I like spooky. That's why Danhausen is such an enjoyable character. I hope he's just not cursing people every week and doing the same shtick. I want to see a bit more from him when he'll wrestle, yada, yada, yada. But he would be someone that would be incredible for one night to show up in TNA and shake things up. Like, what if
And
he's
see,
the
if it
guest
wasn't
GM or
so
something,
if the
Director of
crossover
Authority.
wasn't so if the crossover wasn't so NXT specific, I think you could have a lot of fun if Rosemary gets Decay back together, and somewhere in the back you have like a chance face to face with like Rosemary and Nikki Cross, and it leads to like, I don't know, Crazy Steve versus Joe Gacy or Crazy Steve and Rosemary versus Joe Gacy and Nikki Cross. Here's an idea. Why don't we let Nikki Cross wrestle again?
Right?
Because
I
that
mean,
hasn't happened either. I
people are
love
complaining
WWE,
on
but God
Twitter right
damn.
now that her, Liv, and a few others have had no matches, and they're calling, like Liv Hogan, they're calling, or yeah, along those lines, and it's like, just let them fight.
In other
What are
words,
we doing?
they have people they like, and as long as the focus isn't entirely on the people that they like, anybody that gets a spotlight is a Hogan. And
Yep,
by the way, fuck
anybody
up.
that doesn't bend the knee and agree to the exact. We've argued a lot with the stands on our show, and it's been
I saw two different people today, and the sentiment was pretty much the same of, well, if Bianca Belair can't even be cleared, I don't even know why they're doing WrestleMania this year. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
yeah, exactly.
And this is no disrespect to Bianca Belair. She's not my favorite person. I don't take any pleasure in the fact that she's injured. If she was here, she'd be taking up a spot on the card. It would probably be against Jade. Rhea would get fucked out of that role. But here's where we are. WWE does not rise and fall. Okay, I like Rhea Ripley. WWE doesn't rise and fall on Rhea Ripley. WWE doesn't rise and fall on Bianca Belair either. And I'm
Yeah,
sorry, we're all
but
we're all
that's how
pumped
they
for
treat it.
Punk versus Roman, but like, not to be crass, if CM Punk gets hit by a truck tomorrow, they're not gonna not have WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Like, we're going a bit far here. Well, there's only one appropriate opponent for Jade. Why? Go ahead and tell me
Why?
why without
Oh,
doing
because the story, because
go
the
ahead and tell me something without being super racist. Like, just you know what I mean?
yes,
And if they were, WWE would get the opposite criticism of, oh my God, they're still on the same story. Why don't they ever change? Okay, here's a change. Why would you do that? There's such a wonderful story. Anyways, back to TNA, back to some really cool, because they've got a pretty short build span between Sacrifice and Rebellion, because Rebellion's in 2 weeks. We're going to be talking to you guys about Rebellion in 2 weeks, and we will play Predicto for Rebellion as well.
Predicto.
They announced a couple of matches for Rebellion already. There's two that I want to focus in on. One we kind of already knew was happening, and one is just going to be really fantastic because of the talent involved. We
Absolutely,
got Mustafa Ali versus Trey Miguel. Take my money.
all
And
for it.
Cedric Alexander versus Leon Slater.
Anything
Take
with
my money.
Mustafa Ali, I'm all in for. Like this intergender match that they had was
It was fantastic.
next level
How good
fantastic.
is
It was
Jada
so
Stone?
good. Oh,
How good is
she's amazing.
how good is Jada Stone?
She's so good.
I'm sorry, if it wasn't for the fact that like Ali is going for Trey because he wants Trey's belt, just okay, they've tap danced around it enough. Just give us Mustafa Ali versus Jada Stone,
Yeah.
because those two wrestling is a lot of fun. It's like a more serious Mara Sade and Ryan Nemeth.
Yes.
But like, she's fucking fantastic. She makes me think of Caden Carter a lot.
Yeah,
The tag team of Caden Carter and Katana Chance, and Caden Carter was
absolutely.
always the one that I thought had a little bit more pop to her offense. Katana Chance was very, very athletic, super impressive, but always had a little bit more of that, like, I'm just happy to be here vibe. And I mean, you're a
Yes.
lot happier once you get rid of Ricochet, but be that as it may. But of the two of them, I always thought, what's her name? Lainey Reed now.
Yes.
I always thought she had a little bit more pop to her offense and her style and her presentation and whatever. Um, not taking anything away from Katana Chance, obviously, but
Yeah.
I see a lot of her in Jada Stone, and she's gonna be something. She's gonna
Yeah, you
be
know
something
something's
real.
happening, so
And Mustafa Ali, and let's be real, all the members of Order 4 and all the people that Jada Stone has teamed with to face Order 4 have all given her the platform to look super fantastic, but that just doesn't happen by accident. That happens
no.
if you can take that stage and run with it.
Absolutely, and these are the things that need to happen that they're not capitalizing on?
Yeah. And it's funny because we talked about this in the preview as well. And I talk about like the Cedric, because Cedric won a multi-person match to get a X Division championship a long ass time ago. But it was in that time where Leon Slater was having the visa issues and ended up being on SmackDown because they were over in the UK.
Yes.
So he never actually got his title shot, but they haven't dropped the thread. And it's one of those, TNA does it better than most because they're a smaller company or they're dealing with less people. There's less stories to keep track of, and that probably works in their favor. There's not a whole lot of threads that drop in TNA.
Yeah.
Like the Doomsday Danny Luna being in the title picture now was the same thing. Like she was also caught up in the visa thing, and then they went on ahead and Lei Ying Lee defended against Zarya for reasons, but they don't drop a whole lot of threads, so that's going to be
No.
a good match. And the dichotomy between these two is Trey Miguel, Leon Slater, and I mean throw Javon Evans in there from NXT as well. They're all kind of on that same like hyper popular. We're glad they have belts. We're gonna boo anybody that tries to take their belts away level.
Yeah.
And Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander, think about both of them in WWE and think about how much time both of them spent just being like the super athletic, fun to watch, happy to be there, smiling baby faces. And look at the pair of them, and especially Cedric because it's more recent. Look at how much the two of them love being heels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, how long have they been waiting to be dickheads? And it shows, and it's fucking awesome. Happy for these two matches alone, regardless of what the main event title picture is going to be, because it might be shaped a little differently now based on events. Like these are the matches you sell your pay-per-view on.
Yeah,
Like they'll do
exactly.
something with the women's division once they get a little bit more organization in the women's division. There'll be tag stuff. There's other Elias and Hometown Man and all those types of things that we talked about a couple of days ago. But these are the matches you sell your pay-per-view on.
Exactly,
Like
and
even if there wasn't a story, but like there kind of is. Trey Miguel kind of ensconced himself into the Jada Stone and Order 4 situation. But like even if there's no story, Cedric Alexander versus Leon Slater, take my money. Mustafa
yes,
Ali versus Trey Miguel, take my money. These are the matches you sell your pay-per-view. These are the matches you put on the poster to get new
and
people to watch,
they
or to
they
get not
need
necessarily new wrestling fans, but wrestling fans that aren't necessarily watching TNA.
TNA, yes. Well, even new wrestling fans too, they might see something and be like, "Oh, that looks
I would
interesting. Oh,
I
that
would
looks
lean
fun."
the only thing where that changes is if you're trying to attract brand new wrestling fans is when you gotta throw like the Hardys on the poster. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I like the Hardys, but
Yeah,
they're more mainstream and acceptable and all that kind of thing. Jeff Hardy was the first reason I ever looked at TNA like 10, 15 years ago. Hey, you remember Jeff Hardy? He's facing Jeff
exactly.
Jarrett in a ladder match, and the ring has 6 sides. What? Is this something? Is this anything? But yeah, no, Rebellion already looks really fucking strong, including the roster that grew by one on Friday, with the announcement that after having a couple really good matches in one set of tapings, they've actually signed Ricky Sosa. Bang
Yes,
bang Sosa
exactly.
Sosa. Um, this guy's obviously had a following before TNA. I didn't know who the heck he was. I've seen him like twice now. I really like what I see. I'm happy they locked him down.
Yes.
Happy moment. And it's sort of a star-making thing that even the announcement of you signing your contract was saved for a pay-per-view. Like,
Yes.
that's an immediate, this guy's a big deal, take him as a big deal thing.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
Because they've done a lot of the social media, like, minute clips of, like, people either signing or re-signing in the back with Tommy Dreamer and Carlos Silva, and it's all good. Get it out there. Let people
Yeah.
know who you have on your roster. But this one, even him signing his contract was a pay-per-view worthy event to them, and that's what they're telling the audience. And that's a pretty good place to start from,
Yes.
and it's really cool. Here's the
Absolutely.
thing, and
But
maybe here's the thing. No, but I'm happy for the guy. There's no but to that. But in the situation and the way it was presented, and it was all nice. It was all very respectful and very feel good and whatever. They brought out, or sorry, Carlos Silva and Tommy Dreamer brought out Chris Bay to introduce Ricky Sosa. And when
yes.
they introduced Chris Bay for a split second, and I can't be the only one that thought this, I thought it was Chris Bay coming out to announce that he was cleared
He was
and
back,
signing a new
yeah.
contract. And it's hard to not be disappointed when you got that split second of, oh fuck, Chris Bay's back. So he's just the guy that comes out and introduces people now.
Yes.
Uh
Yeah.
the equivalent, and I'm not just saying this for the obvious reasons. The equivalent would be bringing out Big E on SmackDown to announce the latest person to come up to the main roster is Ricky Saints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Mhm.
we've got this big announcement. Here comes Big E. Oh. Because then it's like, oh, that is awesome news. But I thought I was getting awesome news.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. I don't think that was planned that way by anybody. I do think it's really cool that Chris Bay wants to be involved. And the fact that he started off his speech saying, you know, I'm happy to be standing out here tonight. And I do mean standing out here tonight to introduce Ricky Sosa. Da 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 da. I'm like, oh, that's a bait. Because when he does come, if he does come back, if he doesn't, his choice, obviously, health and happiness first. But if and when he does come back, it's
Yes.
going to be like the TNA pop. And
Exactly.
it's super unfortunate that his tag team
Well,
partner
like,
is
one
not
of
there
the
anymore.
players on the Mets just lost his mother, unfortunately, God rest her soul, to
Okay.
cancer, and it was, like, just a few days ago, and now you have
Yeah.
opening day, comes up at bat, and not someone that usually, I guess, knocks him out of the park and just line drive straight in, home run, and just
Mm.
breaks down crying, did it for his mom, like, what a moment,
Mm. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that is wrestling at its finest. When you boil it all down and you get
Yeah.
those things that make you feel, that is the most important thing in wrestling. And Bay has that built in because it's
Mhm.
real. And
Mhm.
when you get those moments that are real and you don't capitalize on them, then what is the fucking point?
It's a double-edged sword though, because you don't want every emotional reaction from the crowd to be based on real stuff. You want to
No, not
be,
everything, but when it comes to points like this, when you can no
yes. Oh
longer
no, have
avoid,
it. Yeah.
it
But
has to
I don't even
happen.
I don't even say let that moment happen at this point. I mean that moment's going to happen. But the danger, and I would apply this to all companies. I would apply it, you know, AAA, NXT, TNA, Raw, SmackDown, especially AEW, rely on what you know in real life, and it means
Yes,
they don't necessarily go and try to create stories that are going to pull that reaction from you
exactly.
as well. Like the two big thing, and again, I'll say the same thing that I said about Chris Bay about these two gentlemen as well. You've got two big return pops in the pocket for WWE if they happen. One's Big E, the other one's Kevin Owens.
Yes.
But you better have a story that takes into account, like, don't bring back Kevin Owens as a heel. Like, don't have Kevin Owens come back at WrestleMania and attack Cody Rhodes
Yeah.
unless you're turning Cody Rhodes heel, because Kevin Owens is going to get cheered for doing it because people are happy to see. I mean, people are already cheering Randy Orton for doing it, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
Um, put some story back in the story. Don't just say, here's the people and you like them as people, and that's enough. But that doesn't mean at the same time that you don't give Chris Bay a moment to come out and say, "Hey, I'm cleared." Da da da. Da. Roman
Yeah.
came out, and it was the prime example of like he was back in remission, and he just had his moment to talk to the fans and cheer and all that. And then we got on with
The story.
Bloodline and Paul Heyman and whatever. NXT used to be really good at that. I don't think
Yes.
they are necessarily because NXT is so character driven these days. But in the early days, and yes, I even include Sasha Banks in this. Uh, in the early days of the Four Horsewomen, like when all the historical like women's main events, women's Iron Man matches, women being the focal point of the pay-per-views and all that kind of thing. There's a feud and a feud and a feud and a feud, and then they had that moment where they could break kayfabe and they could all be in the ring together, they could all hug together, they could have that like out of story moment and share that out of story moment with the fans, and then the fans knew well enough to like lock back in the following week.
Yeah.
NXT used to be really good at it. I do think there's a whole lot of situations you could bring up in AEW where they rely on it too much, and it's kind
Absolutely.
of gross sometimes. Sometimes it's good. Don't get me wrong. Don't ignore the real life stuff. Sometimes it's a little gross, and I've got some things to say about TK when it comes to stuff like that. Bottom line, Ricky Sosa's joined the roster. Looks like he's going to be an absolutely amazing addition to the roster. It's sort of reinvigorated my hopes that we see Chris Bay back in the ring soon, if he's able, if he wants to, if he's able to, all those precursors. But yeah, and the only other thing about that now is that his tag team partner is in a company that doesn't use him very well. So he's going to be a
Yeah.
solo guy again, which could be fine if he comes back and he starts feuding with Leon Slater, feuding with Trey Miguel, feuding with all these other amazing guys that TNA has on their roster that we just talked about a second ago, like Chris Bay, Mustafa Ali, Chris Bay, Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
If and when, if he wants to, if he's able to, if he can, if it's safe to do so, all those things, all the same things that we would say about a Kevin Owens or a Big E or whatever. Even
Yeah.
though Big E's
Absolutely.
basically said, yeah, it's not happening. But happy for Ricky Sosa. Ricky Sosa has crossed the line. Is their version of like so and so is all elite, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, very,
Cross
very
the
cool.
line.
And very, very cool that they immediately told the audience that it's a big deal that we got this guy. I think the presentation of that was fantastic.
Yeah.
What wasn't fantastic,
Dun
however,
dun dun.
was how that main event ended about 3
Oh
minutes into the
boy.
match.
You literally like the crowd was concerned, but you saw it land, and then everyone was just like,
Yeah.
shit. That's it, right? Like it hit flush. That was a Jay Uso delivered super kick. So unfortunately,
Yeah,
Mike
it wasn't
Santana
great.
take the TNA champ taking on Steve Macklin 1-on-1 for the
Takes a
title,
super
and
yeah.
yep. Right as the
And
match
what you're saying
starts,
now,
Macklin takes a sweet chin music super kick right to the jaw. He goes to the ground and he is out because you can see the way his hands posture and everything. So they send out Eddie Edwards to cause a distraction. They go through the table. The ref rings the bell. It's a no contest.
yeah, it was an on the fly brawl because I think Eddie Edwards, as far as and not that kayfabe matters at this point,
Mm.
but I think in kayfabe he's still got his like feast or fired shot
Yes,
at
yes.
the champion, so it made sense. It's like, oh, we could play it off like a story, like, oh, that match ended early, but hey,
I
fucker,
actually forget the
don't.
story they played in the night that played into that, where he wanted to promise somebody the first shot for the title if he
Yeah, they
won.
played the deal that was struck between Order 4
That's
and
what it was.
the
Yes.
system.
Okay.
And the whole like they both like Eddie Edwards and Mustafa Ali shook hands, and then both of their groups were like, "You don't trust that guy, do you? Fuck no."
Yeah, so but this poor guy in
It's
story, Steve Macklin gets fired, Feaster fired, gets fired. Then Daria Ray reinstates him on March 5th, and Santino, grants him the match, and now he's unconscious. So you hear that he's okay,
mm.
and WrestleZone stated that he is not with concussion; he was just in protocol. And Mike
He went
Santana,
through their protocol. He praised them. I'm sorry. I'm just like I was watching the What Culture News this morning, and plus I was reading a few things. He's gone out of his way all over social media to thank the TNA staff, all the
yes,
amenities they have at their disposal, and all that kind of thing. What I love about this, I love people who are not necessarily in the spotlight getting the shine that they deserve. Alice
Absolutely.
Lane was the official in the match,
Yes, I was just gonna say that
and
she was the hero
she
of the occasion after what just happened at OVW a few weeks
she was
back and how egregiously scary and horrific that was with the referee getting hit errantly and having a seizure in the ring and no one stopping the
she
match and throwing him around. He had a brain bleed and they're chucking him around as we're here. Alice Lane immediately jumped in, protected Macklin. He even says here, like, her elite professionalism and quick thinking saved us. And to see,
yeah.
like, freak accidents happen, you know?
And you can see it too if you go back. Like, I'm not going to go back and rewatch it a bunch of times. I don't want to watch somebody getting hurt for real. But you can see in the split second afterwards, like Santana hasn't quite, and this is no dig on him. Like we're
No,
talking like microsecond stuff. He doesn't clock it immediately, and she's quite a bit smaller than they are. Let's be real for a second. Like she shoves herself
in
between the two
between.
of them,
Yeah.
and she's like got her arms hanging like all the way outside the ring trying to do the X and whatnot.
Yes,
The
and
one thing
she
that
had
I
the
found
posturing, on his hands was what gave it away apparently, and because his hands
yeah,
lock up and then they went to, like, the side, and that's a sign of being knocked out. Now, the wrestlers are trained, supposedly, when you do sells, you don't give certain tells. They don't like people faking seizures. They don't like people, you know what I mean? Like, there's rules
the
against
Daniel
it.
Bryan thing that they did ages and ages and ages ago was what got a lot of hell for that. It's like, no, we tell you guys not to do this because this is like real
This
shit.
is why. Yeah, that's what can happen. Like, there's no reason to take something
Yeah,
real and turn it into a scary event. So, for this to be so professionally proper, and they
it was
had
so pulled
medical
off.
there, and they had, I mean, everything in seconds, and I know OVW is a smaller
Everything.
production than TNA, but still,
Yeah,
it's the human nature of it
yeah,
all, and he's, Santana feels terrible, but he's trying to keep in character, and it's
yeah.
not what anybody wants. It's really
I
unfortunate,
think
but
I think that's the benefit as well, right? Obviously, like if somebody gets hurt, you want to think about the person that's been hurt, but you also want to think about the person that like not the person that did it, but the person that quote unquote did it and how they're doing. And I think in a weird way, like sending because Eddie Edwards was an on the fly call,
yeah, no.
sending him out there and it's like, okay, let's distract the crowd while we
Yep.
get Macklin out, but it's also like, let's give them a brawl to end the show, like get people back into the fiction of it, right?
Yeah, what do
And
we
I
do
think
from here?
probably I don't want to speak for Mike Santana, but probably it probably did something good for him too to lock back into like match mode and like just do some stuff and not just be like staring blankly at like fuck did I like I don't want to say it this way, but like fuck did I just kill this guy or something along those lines. It was interesting to note that everywhere I've looked this morning,
Yeah.
as you say, thankfully he's been through all the protocols, he's been through all the testing and all the like their version of like a traffic stop. Hey, touch your nose, say the alphabet backwards, like
Yes.
whatever the concussion equivalent of that is. He's passed everything with flying colors.
And it
He's
is
got
more in depth than that, but that's kind of what it is. I mean, a lot of it is just because they could do scans, but it doesn't always show the cognitive impairs, and those tend to show
yeah,
themselves
your
later.
reaction time.
So,
Well, we'd like to think that somebody can react. I think the worst I heard was he got a bit of whiplash. There's some like strain in his neck just from like taking the impact, but like it's no more strain than you would have in a match that was just necessarily focused on the head
yeah, so
area.
instead of being hit 15 times and being sore walking out of there, he got hit
He got hit
once,
once. Yeah.
and so apparently
Uh,
it's not like he's in a world of pain at all, which is
yeah.
good, so
And like people are saying, and I get it, it matters and it doesn't, depending on how you want to look at it, right? If this happened like in the middle of the show and then people were able to get on with the rest of the show, it would be a little bit different than, oh shit, that was the last thing we saw at the end of the night. But let me just reiterate, they can't plan for shit like this.
no, not at all, and that's a unfortunate reality of it, like, they really just couldn't, and
It's better to stop. And as I say, not that it matters either, but it is a secondary show.
yes. So
Like
they lucked out with that much
just throw
that
the brakes on, make sure
not all
everybody's
eyes
good.
were on it, you know?
I think it's very cool as well. Do you watch the TNA awards stuff?
No, I haven't
Yeah.
recently, but
After every I don't know whether they do it after every taping, but I know they do it after every pay-per-view, there's like, oh, who was like the superstar of the night and whatever. And
Yeah.
primarily they gave an award to Alice Lane for her like quick thinking, not only noting what had happened to Macklin, but noting that Santana hadn't quite figured it out yet, and like
Yeah.
just shoved herself in there without thinking twice. Like unlimited amount of credit has to go to this woman.
Oh,
But also,
absolutely.
and even Carlos Silva said it was like, it'll be fun to throw in a little bonus one this time around, right? And they gave one to Eddie as well because Eddie sort of like stepped up out of nowhere and said, okay,
Yeah.
let's
Let's
make this
save
work.
this. Yeah. Let's
And
do something here
really,
that
really
can
cool
be.
to see. You don't want to even have a scare like that, but if it's
No,
gonna
of
happen,
course not.
let if it's gonna happen, let it happen like this, where we erred on the side of caution, where we found out that he's actually fine, where all the other moving parts all the other moving parts of the company got to flex and show how all those other parts of the company work as well. It's
Yes.
kind of unfortunate that you don't get to give those people credit until something bad happens, but that's why you need to give them the credit.
Yep. You nailed
I
it.
think overall, it's as amazing as a story like this can be.
Yeah.
And just sticking with other injuries that have happened over the course of the weekend, apparently Will Ospreay either rolled his foot or rolled his knee on Collision, so
Oh
he
my
might be
god.
out. Um, Josh Alexander came out as well after Collision and has announced that he's going in for knee surgery on Wednesday.
Jesus. So
He's
there's
gonna be
2
out.
more.
Um,
I didn't
and I'm
hear
not
about
saying that
Osprey, and that's really upsetting because he just came back.
he was in a random ass tag team match with his old um Aussie Open partner, whose name I can't think of right now. The one that was tag
Yeah.
teaming with Jake something.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis, yeah. Um, yeah, and again, it doesn't matter if it happens in a dark match or whether it happens at WrestleMania. You don't want to see it happen ever, but when you look at Collision and you just like people aren't watching this, man. You could have just like chilled a little
Yeah,
bit.
you could have really.
Not this is okay, and this is a little bit more serious. This is not me taking digs at AEW. I can do that in my leisure time.
Yeah.
But like in on the same Collision, you had Osprey and Alexander, and it's just on their side specifically, you got to feel for them because they're trying to put shows together and they have a lot of people out right now. Another one from SmackDown, and no, she's not my favorite person, but apparently Nikki Bella also did something to her leg and was sort of
No
like
way. So she's
quietly
roughed
moved
up
to the
now
side.
too.
Quietly moved to the side, for like again, like we say with TNA, like precautionary purposes. So I don't know how serious hers is because they
Yeah.
still did the backstage stuff after the fact, keeping the rivalry going with Charlotte and Alexa. So they're still moving forward with them as part of this like mess of tag teams. So maybe it was more of a precautionary thing, go home, put some ice on it or whatever,
Yeah.
but not a great weekend as a whole, as
No.
far as injuries go. So,
Injuries, wrestling, all of it. It's not been.
you know, hoping Macklin's okay, hoping Osprey's okay, hoping Alexander's surgery goes well on Wednesday. Nikki Bella, I don't need to see her on my TV, but that doesn't mean I want to see her get hurt.
Yeah, no, we
Like,
don't wanna see her
I'm not a
injured.
dickhead here. Um,
Exactly.
but let's switch over to some happier news.
Yes.
I'm gonna try and make a transition out of this because we did talk about Chris Bay. We did talk about how unfortunately his tag team partner isn't in TNA anymore. His tag team partner also doesn't really get shown on AEW that often. His tag team partner was in action on Friday at the MLP show as part of a scramble,
Yeah.
and MLP had a huge announcement on Friday. That's how I tied all of that together.
Look at that, and one
Um,
hell of an announcement it was. I mean, honestly, it surprised
it's
me, but
amazing. Maple Leaf Pro. This is more so for if you're in Canada. I don't know what the corresponding network will be in the States, but MLP announced that MLP Mayhem is going to be their weekly television program starting in July. It's going to be on TSN up here in Canada. Now, TSN also carries Dynamite for us up here in Canada. So, whatever Dynamite is on in the States might be where you guys get it.
Yeah.
TSN is obviously a Canadian station. I don't know
Yes.
what the equivalent is, but Maple Leaf Pro is going to have a weekly television show on TSN starting in July.
Which is awesome.
Fucking awesome.
And then
And if you
they had
and if
some
you
big
and if you've
revelations as
seen
well.
which one? Which is that?
They had some big champs, so you got the Good Brothers basically, have been
As
defeated now, so
the
Sheldon
Canadian
Jean
men's
and
tag
Brett
team champion.
Banks. Yeah, they've
Oh, did they switch
introduced
them the next
those.
night?
Sheldon Jean and Brett Banks captured the MLP Canadian Tag Team Championships at MLP Uprising, defeating the Good Brothers. So as soon as they got it, they
Oh,
lost it.
oh,
But
Jesus Christ.
huge win there. And then Stu Grayson has been crowned the new interim MLP Canadian champion.
And that would be
Grayson,
off the back of the announcement of Josh Alexander, because Josh Alexander,
yes.
I'm sorry, Josh Alexander, regardless of the fact that he was in TNA, regardless of the fact that he is in AEW now, not being used as the 25th member of the Don Callis family. If you're talking about Canadian indie wrestlers, like, it's Josh Alexander and everybody else. So when MLP was gonna crown the first ever men's Canadian champion, and it's like, oh, here's a big like what do you call it? Gauntlet battle royal thing where it's like I was there for it. We talked about this a while ago, but it was like it's a battle royal until the last two guys, and then the last two guys fight for the pin. And it ended up being Josh Alexander and Matt Cardona. And it's like, well, Josh Alexander's winning this. Matt
Yeah.
Cardona came out in all of his flagrant Americana, and he's fighting for a Canadian title. He's not winning. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, if that's what they've done, I haven't watched the show from last night yet, so maybe that's what they did on that. But yeah, so they'll have an interim championship, and hopefully he comes back and reclaims his throne. If it's interim, that means he hasn't just been stripped of the title, which is awesome. I had heard about the Good Brothers. I hadn't heard that they lost them within the same 24 hours. That's kind of funny. Somebody
Yeah.
said now that Finn has left the Judgment Day, he could go and steal from the MFTs and steal from the Indies and just have like him and the Good Brothers and the Gorillas of Destiny as like the Balor Club.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of really awesome, actually.
Yeah, no
That would
kidding.
be a hell. That would
And
be a hell of a faction with this newly reinvigorated Finn Balor at the head of it.
right?
Could be fun. I don't think it's going to
Could
happen.
be pretty great. I mean,
I think
you
Good
could talk
Brothers
about
like being able to float around, though. So
forget the Good Brothers. What about the Bad Brothers? Ruthless Pro Wrestling Omega event had a fan try and stab one of the wrestlers in attendance, and the entire locker room emptied and beat the living hell out of this guy.
good.
What a sight to see. Holy hell.
That's what should have happened to what's his name's kid a while
Yes,
ago last year.
Jackson,
Raja
Raja.
Jackson. Fuck
Yes.
off, piece of shit.
Never should have occurred. I don't know, again, why they didn't stop that, but awful. Awful, awful, awful. Regardless, these sons
We
of
live in a
bitches.
world where the people that do bad things don't get in trouble, and the people that the people that don't do bad things and defend themselves get labeled as the bad guys. We need to live in a world where the bad guys need to realize that if you do bad shit, you're gonna get decked at the very least,
Yeah.
and then go from there. Maybe don't try to run over a cop, and you might have a good day. Just saying,
Just
or
saying.
one might say a pretty good day.
Oh,
Um, I have nice. I
you
have no way
deserved
to
it.
transition out of that, but the
I do, because
last
I
thing,
got a little bit more news for you really quick.
fantastic. All right.
WWE confirms a new full-time NXT general manager.
Oh, Robert Stone.
Yes, now they've made him official. So they officially named him the full-time NXT general manager, and the end of his interim authority figure role is over. So since February 3rd, I think he's done well. And this
I
is
do too.
really
Yeah.
cool to see. So congrats to him on being the full-time GM. And I'm liking what he's doing. I prefer him over Ava anyways, certainly. So
Yeah. I didn't mind Ava as a as an on-screen character. I know she wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but it's one of those. It's kind of like the referee, where like the GM shouldn't be so much of a character. I know she didn't show much character at all, and that's
yeah.
going too
But
far
she
the
was
other way.
still impeding on everything
Yeah.
some way,
But I
shape, or
just
form.
Yeah, because with Robert Stone, you got the like he's really wacky. like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed by everything. Look, I'm running a show and these
Yes,
wrestlers are coming to talk to me. What the shit? I think
but he
he's a lot
also
of
can be
fun.
very serious and an authority figure as well. Like, he
Yeah.
went out there and got shit done with the women, with the men, with the all of it.
Mhm,
So I feel
mhm.
like the dichotomy between the 2 sides, as where Ava tried to be, I don't wanna say intimidating, that's the wrong word, but she tried to
She had a little
be.
bit of she had a little bit of Stephanie McMahon in her. I will say
Yes.
that, where everything she said was down talking, even if she was talking to the baby faces, and
Yeah.
it made a couple of the dynamics really off. She wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and it's not like, I know she chose to leave of her own volition. She's not somebody that I would have called for her job, but she's also not somebody where I'm like, "Oh my god, what do you mean she's leaving? The all is lost moment."
Yeah,
Like, I'm
exactly.
so neutral on the Ava thing, but I don't dislike, now she's gone on in her personal life to be very outspoken on some stuff that I don't agree with her on, but
Yeah.
that's her right. She's not standing in front of me arguing with me about it. She's not encouraging the fans to be a certain way, like somebody in AEW is getting famous for doing these days. But Robert
Indeed.
Stone is a very animated character. He does pull off that, "Oh my god, somebody else is just about to come into my office," which is funny because Adam Pearce does the same thing and Nick Aldis does the same thing, but all
Yeah.
3 of them do it in a slightly different way.
They're all
Like
overwhelmed.
whenever Adam Pearce is done yelling, "I need a drink," like he's got that going on, and, Nick Aldis half the time is just being a suit, and half the time is looking like he's about to fight Drew McIntyre, so I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
Robert Stone, or, like, if you've followed him as long as I have, Robbie E. from, uh, from TNA when he was doing the DJ bit,
Yes.
when it was Robbie E. and DJ Z, and it was like it
Yeah, the
started off as,
Jersey
like,
Shore.
really bad Jersey Shore, and then it turned into, like, a rave disco thing, and, I mean, DJ Z is now in, what is it? No, Legado, I
Yes.
think, because he's Joaquin Wild now. So
Yes.
both of them are doing stuff. So that's funny. They're doing stuff. They're doing all right. Whenever Robert Stone and Chelsea Green get together, it's awesome because, like, if you remember way back in your NXT history, he was her manager for a little bit, the Robert
Yes.
Stone brand.
Mhm.
So that was a lot of fun. I like it as a turnover.
I do as
And
well.
that brings me to some news that doesn't apply to me. It only applies to you. You're down there in America.
Yes, indeed.
As far as how we watch NXT, they're no longer on Peacock. They're gonna go live on YouTube for their
Love it.
pay-per-views from now on, and
No VPN needed.
all the library that you used to go to either the WWE Network for or the library that we can go to Netflix for is all being uploaded to the NXT YouTube channel. Jake, let me
Can't
ask you
beat
something
that.
because
I love it, and they're
it
doing quite a bit of it too, and they're asking, like, fan favorites and requests, and so the Vault channel was a great idea, the NXT channel was an even better idea, and now having all of it come together for the streaming, I think couldn't be better.
I need to ask this though, right? Because, like, we know that there are certain things where it's like, "Oh my god, if another company did it, you'd be fine with it," type of thing, and I'm not even going down that route, right? Everybody else worldwide that has Netflix, for the most part, I think by now is watching NXT on Netflix like we watch
Yes.
everything else, right? I think the only ones that have CW and Fox for NXT and SmackDown are you guys?
I
I
believe
may
so.
be wrong. Somebody will, like, tell me, like, some obscure place that's still got it on, like, Channel 4 or something like that, but for the most part, like, the States still have a couple of TV deals to get through,
Yeah.
and most of the rest of us are just watching everything on Netflix now, right? So
Yes.
in the States, you're watching NXT on the CW still, correct?
Yes, correct.
And now you're gonna get your NXT pay-per-views for free. You don't even need to have Netflix. Like,
No.
you can
Love
say
it.
like, I could say I watch it for free because I already have Netflix, but I'm still paying for Netflix. Like, you can't get freer than YouTube,
No, you can't.
right? How are people complaining about this?
And people are like, "Oh, you need internet access still," and it's like, "Well, how are you gonna watch it when you paid for it?" You know? Like, yes, it's free. You're not paying for
How
it.
are people complaining about this?
They indeed just like to complain, I feel like, at times, unfortunately.
It's like,
But
"Oh, well,
yeah,
yeah, YouTube has ads." It's like, "Okay, we're in 2026. If you don't have an ad blocker at this point, like, that's more on you."
yeah, and even more so than YouTube Premium is one of the things that I feel like is worth it cheaply enough.
Mm.
Get rid of all the ads, background play, all of it. I'd be lost without it, but I'm telling you,
But the
it's
thing about it is,
just
like, even if you don't have premium, because, like, okay, you don't wanna add another thing to your subscription list.
yeah,
I
you
get
don't need it. You could use other
everybody
workarounds.
like, I have Triller, I have Netflix, I have Disney Plus, I used to have Crave, but now Crave is part of my Prime, and I have XYZ, and we still do have cable in my house, right?
Yeah.
I get that people have subscription fatigue as far as that goes. I get it. It's a legitimate
Yeah,
complaint
I
of
do.
just living
Absolutely.
in 2026. I get that. You don't need to pay for YouTube Premium to get
No, you don't need
commercial
to pay
free.
for a ton of things
There's
unless you need certain access.
1,000 ad blockers out there, and you can watch for free. I just watched the last part of Ray de Reyes last night on my computer with no ads on YouTube because WWE already done it. WWE did it as a trial because you guys had, what was it? Saturday Night's Main Event on Peacock, correct?
Yes.
Is it still on Peacock?
I don't know if it is anymore as of now
Okay.
because we haven't had one yet so far that's not been on Peacock, but that doesn't mean that they aren't going to Ixnay
Okay.
Isle on it. So I'm not sure
Because
yet.
the whole Saturday Night's Main Event thing was created for NBC, and that's
Yes, it was
Peacock.
a special for
So, if
them
it's not
strictly.
I would think that if it's not on Peacock anymore, then it would just cease to be a thing. Because as fun as some of them have been, they don't need to exist.
No,
So
no, they
I
don't.
would think the day they leave Peacock would be the day that we just stop doing them, which would also be fine. But, like, they started with do you remember the 3 weeks where this Fox deal was over, but the Netflix stuff hadn't started yet?
Yeah.
um, before like at the end of 2024.
Yes.
So the TS or up here, the score deal ended and Netflix hadn't kicked in for us yet, and we watched SmackDown on Netflix up here. So for those 3 weeks, it went live on YouTube for us. We were watching SmackDown on YouTube live,
Yes.
right? And then they moved Saturday Night's Main Event over to YouTube
Yes.
and it grew and grew and grew as hey, this is where WWE is now. And now AEW in or sorry, not AEW, AAA in its entirety lives on YouTube live. Like
Yes.
they've been testing the waters on this for a long time. And I don't know how if this was the first I'm trying to figure out how people are complaining about free shit. So you'll have to
Yes.
excuse me while I switch into retard mode. But like they've been doing it.
Yes.
The only way you don't know this is if you don't live in Canada and you didn't watch those couple of SmackDowns on YouTube, if you didn't watch any of the Saturday Night's Main Events outside of the United States, and you don't watch any AAA.
Yeah.
That's a good portion of WWE to not be watching to pretend that this is a new thing.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, if you're that sad that you didn't get to pay for the pay-per-view, just take the money that you would have paid for the pay-per-view. You can send it to me, you know, 101 Spaz Lane, City of Spaz, Country of Spaz. Like, you can send me the money. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not monetized on YouTube because I'm not censored enough. It's fine. Don't worry
It's
about it.
fine.
I don't get how people are complaining about free shit, man.
I know. It baffles me as well.
Remember when Dark and Dark Elevation were around and when they were a thing and it was the best thing in the world and it was this gift that Tony was giving everybody for free. Anybody around the world deserves to see our wrestlers. And then
Yes.
it died on its ass because even for free, nobody wanted it.
Nobody gave a damn.
But what this
But they did treat it
NXT
like a nothingness event as well, which was a
they did.
problem.
They did. But I mean, now you can look at the ROH studio shows and nobody can even be bothered to show up in person.
Especially for their, big events, you would think too, like massive
Yeah. Those
title matches
that
and
empty warehouse be echoey as fuck, bro.
yeah.
Anyway, you know what's not echoey as fuck? Another horrible transition for us tonight.
Yeah.
Um, I say tonight at 2:30 in the
Is it
afternoon.
Club
Um,
WWE? We mentioned it off air briefly, but they
don't know
filed
what
a
it is.
trademark as of this weekend, and you could just see a person carried a physical sign at SmackDown saying Club WWE. The trademark is under goods and services, and it says the nature of providing discounts and special offers to members in the fields of retail, special event planning, marketing, and subscription. So it's going to be some type of thing where you'll get cheaper merch or cheaper tickets or premium access to something. But they've got some type of payment subscription thing up their sleeves of brewing. So
But if I'm in a city where WWE only shows up once a year, I'm not going to buy a yearly subscription to something that gets me a discount once.
it might get you discounts, like on T-shirts too, or
I mean,
whatever
fair.
might happen. Like I think that's what's going to be added in as well. So
I mean, fine. It's another promotional thing.
maybe it comes
Like it's
with,
it's it's the, it's the latest deal. It's the latest. Hey, we're not selling very many WrestleMania tickets, so let's have a 316-day sale.
yeah.
And fuck, the tickets went up, did they not? Anyways, apparently, the ticket sales for Raw after Mania are shit.
hmm
From
I've
what I've heard,
seen that as well. So
I haven't looked
WrestleTix
into
was
it.
reporting it out, and
The last thing I had heard, and granted, this was at the beginning of last week, but the last thing I had heard was that they had not sold any tickets on the camera side. I'm like, holy
yeah,
fuck, what
they've
are we
got
doing?
13,595 for Raw at MSG. Cody's going to that. We're getting him sent there to be our man on the inside. But
And they've reinstated
AEW,
the blackouts.
not yet.
No, they have.
AEW, oh, they have?
They lifted after enough protest went up in Vegas. They lifted the
Wow.
like watch party ban. They lifted the
Yeah,
watch party
good.
ban for WrestleMania. And then there was none. And now they've come back and there is a watch party ban, but it's only for Raw, which is
Okay.
weirder. Which is weirder. So SmackDown, you
Hmm.
can do, and I know this because I know the guys from What Culture are going down for like a 4-day watch along thing in
Yeah.
Vegas. So every time they get an update about this, they have to update their fans that are going to their like attached
Mhm.
shows, I guess you would say. So right now, apparently you can do, if you're in Vegas, you can do a watch party for SmackDown. You can do a watch party for the Hall of Fame. You can do a watch party for night 1 and 2 of WrestleMania itself, but you can't do a watch party for the Raw after.
Yes. So weird. Um,
Which tells me one of two things, right? And one of them's kind of shady, and one of them's still shady, but I get it from their point of view. Either they're trying to do what they did with WrestleMania and convince more people to actually buy tickets and go because they won't be able to go to a watch party,
yeah.
which is shady and backwards. And like, I love WWE, but not everything they do is great. Or they've got something planned for the Raw after Mania that they so tightly want to have. We are the only ones showing this ability that they've gone back to doing something that they knew nobody was going to like. Neither one of those excuses works for me very well.
No.
One of them makes me morbidly curious about what they have planned for the Monday after WrestleMania.
And that's the 20th, right? 420 for that one?
I believe so.
I'm
I don't have
pretty
a calendar in
sure.
front of me.
Yeah.
This is
I'm
me
not
looking for a
entirely
calendar
sure, but
live in real time as we
yes,
record.
it is. Okay. So, because it's the 18th, 19th, so it'll be the 20th. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what exactly the tickets are at, but
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah, there's just a lot of porn that comes up on Twitter instead of ticket answers. Goddamn OF.
420
Um,
sec.
yeah, 420.
You see our friends at the Wrestling for Life Network over there,
Yes,
smoking
there
the
was that one
vitamins and
too.
all. Shout out to Nick and KJ and Ringsider Anthony and all those guys over there. Best watch alongs in the game. Seeing as your buddy Spaz doesn't do live stuff.
Yeah,
We've rambled on for quite long enough. We should probably talk about Roadblock.
we need to.
God
But
damn, we've been talking for
but
a long ass
last
time.
bit of news, Lex is king. He is going
Hmm?
to be cleared. He's doing okay, doing better. They said he
Ah,
wasn't cleared to compete, and he said he's feeling okay after the match. They did not clear him for the full episode, but they're saying now he's already feeling better the day after, and though he may not be fully cleared yet, he is returning to the ring soon. So hopefully we'll see him in
very
some
good.
way at the MSG show.
Yeah, because he got injured at the NXT house show. Am I correct on that one?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I don't hate Lexus King as much as most people.
I
I think
enjoy him, and
I think
think
he's
he's a
being
lot
a
of fun.
dickhead, and he's getting exactly the reaction that he should be getting. And since we started with the birthright, let's start with the birthright. Number one contendership for the tag team championship match at Stand and Deliver is on the line between the birthright and Los Americanos.
Now,
Now,
this
here,
is
here's the thing.
interesting. Yeah,
Here's the thing, because WWE has an ongoing problem. The Americanos have an identity crisis.
they do. They
The
do.
Americanos that are with El Grande Kaiser Americano, who is heel on the main roster and babyface everywhere else. So these guys, Bravo and Rayo, are heels on the main roster
Mm,
and babyfaces everywhere else.
everywhere
NXT,
else.
TNA. I think they went to Noah for something a while ago. I don't remember because I don't watch Noah. I'll be bluntly and honestly about that. So they're there to replace somebody. Somebody was supposed to face the culling, and then they were taken out. And
Well,
then the
it
American
was Sean Legacy got injured, and they
right.
had his partner with Knight and LaFleur go ahead and
Yep.
replace them, and then LaFleur was on the floor with a real injury. So, because I was during the review, I'm like, what the fuck was the point of replacing them if you were just going to attack them and have them be replaced? But there was another
Real life stuff.
unintended injury that happened and occurred. So,
Yeah, the Fruchador.
yeah,
The Fruchador got injured. He got his wings clipped, so to speak. Everybody says they want him to team up with Lyra Valkyria, Birdman and
hey,
Birdwoman.
works for
Um,
me.
so here's the thing, right? So you got the Americanos that are heels sometimes. You've got the Birthright that are heels, and the champions are heels.
Yes,
So we can't really play around with, oh, we need a babyface team to face the heel team. Like, I'm sorry, Hank and Tank should have gone for that. It should have been Hank and Tank going for Swipe Right or the Vanity Project and whatever.
yeah,
Um, Vanity Project is doing awesome. I'm gonna say the Birthright here just because I want it to actually be like NXT talent going for the NXT titles, especially at something like Stand and Deliver. Oi oi oi.
yes.
Bravo and Rayo are awesome in the ring. Nobody can question what they bring to it. I kind of want to see
Yeah,
a
because
heel
Dunn
heel
and
thing.
Bate are amazing, and hiding them under a mask really does feel.
Why are you bringing Dunn and Bate into this one? I'm talking about Bravo and
I
Rayo.
know, I know. It's just the
Totally
in-ring
unrelated.
skill is just
Totally.
impeccably similar,
I
but
I mean, I could maybe I could see Bravo and Rayo like having a match against Dunn and Bate, but nobody's seen them in
maybe
forever.
forever, long
Um,
time now.
it is one of those situations where I always use the classic example, and people are going to get tired of me saying this. I would love to see peak in his prime heel Ric Flair versus peak in his prime heel Eddie Guerrero, sort of
Oh my
like
god.
who can be the bigger dickhead. No, to say nothing about the match quality. The match
No,
quality
no,
would have been
no, I know the
awesome,
match, but
but
but but as far as,
from
like,
a story
the
point of view, from a
charisma
story
and the
point
fuck yeah, that's why I'm like, "Oh
of
my
view.
god, that sounds
So I kind of want to
stellar."
see the Birthright versus the Vanity Project because that
Yeah,
just sounds like everybody being an asshole.
and it works, it does, and it so they had the Invasion crew. Oh, I meant Showdown, and then it turned
Mm.
into kinda like NXT jobbers or breaking up matches and trying to be important, and then when that started to fail, they did the Birthright angle, which it should have been to begin with, and it is funny having Finley's son be debuting in AEW while he's showing up in NXT, like, it j makes you chuckle, but regardless of
And then
everything.
have you seen them fighting online?
Yes,
Like the Finley brothers fighting online?
arguing
I'm
amongst
I'm
each other, it
I'm
is
sorry,
funny.
but like AEW signed the dogs and neutered them on day 1 and day 2. So like what are we doing here?
Oh, but they gotta win eventually. Yeah, now look what happens. Who's left? Jake something, Doyle, whatever is injured. You got Davis coming back, but no one gives a shit about him. And the War Dogs, what? You're just gonna keep beating them over and over until what?
And Darby
Like
Allin's
there's no
walking
plan.
and I'm saying this as a guy that likes Darby Allin, and I like the kinda, like, fucked up, like, sideshow matches that he does, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It is one of those things where I'm like, I probably there's probably part of me that shouldn't like this, but I do, he's a character. I like him in the same way that I like we talked about it earlier. I like him the same way that I like, like Rosemary and the Dark Realm and like all the
Yes.
Wyatt lore and give me the Boogeyman, give me Malachi, give me all that kind of shit, right? But in context, he's been treated like a blood-soaked like punching bag for
Yes.
months.
For
And then he comes out
years,
on
for
Raw
6
and
years, Darby has
but
been beaten, thrown downstairs, hit with cars, blown up, and decapitated.
but then he comes out and randomly out of nowhere, it's like, and now I'm ready to fight for the world title. Say what?
Yeah, finally, even though I've lost everything and every match in every way, and the stupid car spot, and like they let him do this the self-appeasing, aggrandizing bullshit.
Well, we did win a 3-on-3 match by making it a 3-on-2 match by
uh,
handcuffing the guys we just signed to the ring and making them squirm around like goofballs.
yeah. See, there we go. But you're not wrong at all. The fans are tired of Darby. You can tell, you can hear it,
Mhm.
you can see it, and it's
I
really,
see.
really,
I'm
really
not, and
unfortunate.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not. I
No,
think Darby has a spot on the show.
but
I
the
think
fans are
Darby has.
very tired of him, very tired,
I
and
I think there was a time where you could have thrown the belt on this kid, and even though the belt weighs probably as much as he does, people would have lost their nut. But the entire idea of the four pillars went to shit. The four pillars match was shit. Um, and now it's like he's got his spot, and you could take him. There's still some people, myself included, that have a residual following for this kid, and there is that mentality of he is willing to run headfirst into that wall that hard because that's how much he wants to be here.
yeah.
There is a mindset like that that I can appreciate and I'm on board with to a certain degree. So I'm with Darby as far as a guy showing up on my TV screen more than most people in AEW.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
But
And I
there is
get that too, but the
you got to do some
presentation is
work.
is a lot. Yeah, that's the
But you got to
problem
do
here.
No, the way I'm saying, I'm being super picky on this. I'm
Yes.
saying right now, the way he is right now, don't change anything. There is a spot for him on that card.
Yes.
But for him to go and switch gears to, oh,
Try and take the title. Yeah.
I've decided I want to be considered a world contender again. You could get there, but you don't get there in a week.
No, and he's not there
It
yet,
was
and that's what
jarring.
I'm saying. He's
It was
he needs to
jarring.
stay in the it was the same thing when Jinder Mahal became champ. It was like you were a jobber that lost 400 matches in a gimmick rock band, and now you're the world champ, and you wonder why people couldn't, fall in line for it. So
See, I
now
wouldn't compare him to Jinder because I don't think Jinder was working for anybody. Darby has a certain type of fan that he works for,
yes, and
and
it's
it's
the
just bringing
31st this week is the show. I messed up. Yes, not the 1st.
okay, okay.
But yes, all in all, it seems like I like Darby, but Darby has been Darby for 6 years straight. So I get why
Mhm.
trying to change him into the main title thing is feels really late. Like him and Samoa Joe had that back and forth, and then Samoa Joe goes to become
But you don't just
champion.
get to but you don't just get to say like, okay, now I've decided this is a
Now,
thing.
yes,
And the thing is, the
and the fans
way
seem tired of all his antics, the film student noir
but here's the
bullshit.
thing, the people that do still follow him and do still like what he offers to the show, because again, I got to double down on it. There
Yeah,
is something that he contributes to the show.
yes,
And
absolutely.
the people that are fans of that would want to get behind him in a world title run or a world title shot or whatever, but they want to be taken on the ride to get there. You don't just fall asleep on the bus and, "Oh shit, I'm here. What city am I in?" Like, it's something that will be good if you let it be good, but instead of letting it be good, they just came out on day 1 and said, "Here's this thing, it's good."
Yes.
Anyways, you know what's
And
gonna be
there's
really
been
good?
no evolving, no moving forward with a lot of
Well,
people are
because
still in the same
Evolve is a
position they
WWE
were.
brand. Evolve is a WWE brand. That would be copyright
Mm.
infringement. Anyways, something that will be good,
Yes.
and, a couple of guys that are a lot bigger than Darby Allin, which doesn't take very much, quite frankly. Jasper Troy versus Keanu Carver with Josh Briggs as the special guest referee because it was the only way he could get on the show.
Right. I mean,
I
I
like
thought he
Josh
was
Briggs.
fired. I thought they let him
I
go.
I I like Josh Briggs having a little bit of Kevin Owens about him in the sense of like, "Fuck, dude, I just wanna talk to you for a minute.
Yeah.
Fuck, can I just talk to my boss for a second?"
Can I just have a moment of your time?
What do you mean there's
Cracks
no
me
spot
up.
for me on the card? If Josh Briggs pulls a Sami Zayn and just goes and like takes Miles Bourne's title, be like, fuck you. You have to put me on stand and delivery.
You gotta do
Oh,
it. You gotta do but that's what I'm saying, like, that air of
do we
desperation.
okay, sorry, sidetrack. Do we want to talk about the Sammy's the champ again? What are we
Uh,
doing?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of this at all, and I'm so tired of the ultimate underdog Sami Zayn. Like that Sami's Hogan comments being thrown around. I get it because it's like, oh, you're not on the card. We have massive, 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 earth-shattering history between Carmelo and Trick. Carmelo's now a face. Trick is a heel. Changing it up a little bit more too now. Fuck me. Why did we not have that? It's the same thing as the Judgment Day stuff. And the other, like they had matches from rivalries ready to go, stories built in, and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do Sammy and Trick." Yes, they've had interactions in the back, but the personal,
The
intention of
main
the feud is
okay. I
lacking.
hate to say this because I want to believe that everybody watches NXT, but they don't.
No.
The first person that or one of the first people that Trick had like legitimate heated confrontation with when he came to the main roster, like from almost day one, was Sami Zayn. So I
Yes.
get how the main roster thinks this is the feud. That's not really my issue with this. I mean, it kind of is.
It
I'd like
is
to
in
see it.
part. You're not wrong, but a big
Yeah.
part, as you're about to say.
But my bigger thing is, and it's not a dig at Trick or Sammy, because my God, can you see the foreshadowing here? This is the crowning moment for Trick Williams at
Yes.
WrestleMania.
I hope. They've they've
I'm
they've not done it before. We've seen people that should be winning lose at Mania, so I hope this is
Yeah,
his
but they
crowning
don't they
moment,
don't
but
really they don't really like to give Sammy a lot of good moments, and Sammy's very good at going in and being the dope for somebody else on a big
yeah.
stage.
Sammy already
So
went
he's
ahead and had multiple Mania moments with
yeah,
Owens
he
on his own
yep.
against Gunther.
Yeah, but Sammy's gone and Zigglered himself. So, like, and they you can see the amount of push they're putting behind Trick. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
obvious. And I hate to narrow it down to one thing, but the amount of money and the amount of time and the amount of production that they put into him just getting himself from the stage to the ring, you can tell who WWE is behind. And I hate to say it like this because I don't dislike Sami Zayn, but it ain't Sami Zayn.
No. And it never
So
has been.
he's
It
gonna win, and
never
he's gonna
once has been.
yeah, he's gonna win, and he's gonna be crowned, and the crowning of Trick Williams is awesome. Here's what I don't like, is they've done this thing with the United States Championship, and they did it with Sami Zayn, and it was great, and they did it with Dragunov, and it was great, and they did it with Carmelo, and it was great. 3 guys have carried that, United States Open Challenge mantle week to week to
Yes,
week, and it's consistently the best thing on SmackDown, right?
absolutely.
So now
The
you've had
open
Carmelo Hayes
challenges, the matches, all of it has been
now you've had
exciting,
Carmelo
fun.
Hayes Now you've had Carmelo Hayes carry that through WrestleMania season to not have it at WrestleMania.
Yes, and on
Carmelo,
top of it, not only did
I
you
don't care
take it
what you do
away
with
from
Sammy.
him
I don't care
in
what you
an
do with Sammy. I don't care what
yeah.
you do with Trick, even though I think it's going to be a good thing.
But it wasn't
You
even like an
cut off
advertised
Carmelo's
built up match.
balls.
It's before
Yeah.
Mania. Like, at least if he dropped it at Mania, you could be like, well,
But you okay, I understand that as well though, because from the story that they were trying to tell, though, they were trying to tell it as this was Sami Zayn's knee-jerk
yes,
reaction.
reaction to not being on the
It
card,
wasn't
which I get, but
it wasn't anything against Carmelo.
no.
He wanted to snatch up something really quick to rub in his boss's face. So from that point of view, you couldn't advertise it in advance. And plus the idea of an open challenge is anybody could get it at any time. And so
Yes.
we can't ding them for that because that's genuinely like the whole purpose of the whole open challenge thing.
Yeah.
I'm
I
okay with
understand it.
this.
It's just I feel like it's very ineffective. It ends up costing them more than helping in my eyes,
Right.
really.
This is where I'm doing the like I'm okay with it if
Yeah,
because
but
you need stories after Mania.
I'm weary that Trick's not gonna win. I hope so,
Well,
but
I would if there's any sure if you were to tell me all the matches that we're doing at WrestleMania right now and ask me what the sure bet is, Trick becoming the United States champion is the sure bet out of any other match that I can see on that card right now. And
Yeah.
yes, I'm sorry, I'm including Brock and Oba in
Oba.
that
See, I
conversation.
don't have confidence in WWE giving it to Trick because we've seen it so many times. Like, oh, Nakamura wins the Rumble, it's his time, and Dick Kick City, and yeah, I could sit here and name example
It's
after example after example, but
I mean,
we've seen it
I
so
there's
many
a
times now.
there's a dark part of my brain that just wants Brock Lesnar to win because I want the Twitterverse to explode, but I don't
Right?
because
As much as I
Oba.
hate the idea, like, I get what you're going for because but
Yeah,
that's
but I
another
don't
thing,
at
it
the
doesn't
same time
feel like a
because Oba's
foregone
awesome.
conclusion. Most of the matches at Mania, we don't have necessarily the ultimate view on how this is going to turn out. We don't know.
Anyways,
Um,
so getting back to what I was
so
saying though, this is
yeah,
very much one of my I'm okay with it if
yes,
situations. Trick's gonna get crowned at Mania. I'm fully convinced of that. And Carmelo may or may not actually be involved. He's gonna win it off of Sammy, who from a main event sorry, from a main roster perspective is a much more established character. It's a bigger scalp for Trick. I get that point of view as well. I'm good with it if the immediate story off the back of WrestleMania is Carmelo Hayes chasing Trick Williams and we get
yeah,
Carmelo and Trick at SummerSlam because they're going to do big things at SummerSlam because SummerSlam being a 2-night event is still a new thing. They're going to crank it up as much as they can.
yes,
They, I think in a lot of ways, last year they treated SummerSlam as being bigger than WrestleMania. It's not, but they can have
no,
their illusions,
but they're
right?
trying to make
So
it as
if
such.
you want to do a gigantic pedestal and a longer build for Mello and Trick going into SummerSlam, and that's the purpose of this, I'll be okay with it. So I'm
Yeah,
not going to know. I'm not going to know if I'm okay with this match until we get to SummerSlam,
exactly.
which is me frustrating myself.
But you're
But
not wrong because I mean, and that's part of the problem too. They toss the titles around like they're meaningless at times, and then other times they have people have these massively long, unnecessarily long reigns when just not needed.
but
You know,
that's
so
that's where you can help a guy like Carmelo though, because Carmelo did see value in that title, and I guarantee you,
oh yeah,
Sami Zayn this time around isn't going to do an open challenge because now
no,
he's doing this scramble to get to Mania. Hear me out though. Hear me out though.
yeah,
Because Carmelo being the observer, it'll suck if Carmelo's not part of WrestleMania. Let me say that first and foremost for 100%, right? But if he watches the US title with himself not in it and he sees Sammy not do the open challenge this time, Sammy just using that belt as a way to like shove his boss around and say, you have to put me on the card now. Even Trick Williams only really using that belt as something that I can take away from Sammy, not treating it like a championship. Then Carmelo chasing Trick after Mania, now that they've established what the title actually means to Carmelo, because the United
yeah,
States Championship didn't mean anything to anybody for a long time.
no, for a very
You've
long
convinced
time.
us, and it won't be Sammy this time around, but you've convinced us that Sammy wanted to make it mean something. Dragunov wanted to make it mean something. Carmelo was out there making it mean something, and now two guys that don't really care about it as the prize that it is are going to fight over it anyway. The
Yeah,
guy that actually wants it, the guy that actually values it, chasing it after Mania, using his absence at Mania as fuel, using the fans that are upset that he's not a part of Mania and still carrying that title as fuel. Even though Trick's over as hell, the story will eventually lean to him. The more the fans lean towards Carmelo, the more Trick can lean into being a dick, which he's good at. And Carmelo Hayes as a babyface has been fantastic. They tried to bring him in as a heel. They tried
yeah,
to make him heel tag team with the Miz, which was catastrophic, except it wasn't
yes,
because Miz is the primary guy of I'll make myself look like a dick if it'll help somebody.
yeah,
Like
and that's what he's great at.
that's been the second half of his career. That's why I will always say nobody gives the guy enough credit.
No, and you're not wrong. So
Anyways, but getting back to the match at hand, Jasper Troy, Keanu Carver are just gonna fucking run into each other like two bulls, and Josh Briggs is
yes,
gonna be there. Um,
I mean, I'm excited for
kind of,
this, no doubt about it, and
it
it's
kind of
gonna
feels
be
obvious to me that
yeah.
this match doesn't have an ending. Josh Briggs is a dick as a referee, and we run it back as a triple threat match at Stand and Deliver. Oi, oi, oi.
Hopefully, maybe, because we've got, what, 6 matches they usually have, and it feels like we're still missing some key points here, so
Right now we have 5. Why is my computer doing stuff?
yeah, because
Um,
of the
the matches
women's
that are already because a lot of those matches are going to be decided at Roadblock. The only matches we have on there for sure are the 4-way for the NXT Championship, Sol Ruca versus Zarya, and Miles Bourne versus Johnny Gargano.
Yes. We will get JC Jane. We
Johnny
gotta bring him in
Gargano
the
is the
ship.
most random addition ever. He
Yeah,
did
I like the payoff with the story. I mean, it is funny. It's just I'm
he
curious where
did
they go.
but they kind of recreated it's ages old now, but there's a match on SmackDown between William Regal and the Big Show, and
Yeah.
Regal knocks out the Big Show with the knucks, but Big Show falls on him and gets the win anyway.
Yes.
They kind of did that, and I'm sorry if Gargano comes down for a mini run. This is doing our preview for next week already, but like Miles Bourne versus Johnny Gargano is not going to be a bad match
No.
by any stretch.
I just don't
Um,
see him losing the title yet. I mean, Johnny
the
could take it and go on a short run and make it, something, but
yeah,
I mean, he was a great North
it'll
American
be
champion. He won it from
it'll be a
Priest.
good scalp. It'll be a good, and I hate to always use these kind of like logical reasonings. It'll be a good scalp for your NXT history specifically that
Yes.
somebody can come along and win a title off of Johnny Gargano in NXT. I do like the fact that they're teasing a heel group of Johnny and Candice and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yes.
That could be a lot of fun.
That could be
Um,
great.
Candice helping the Motor City Machine Guns win on SmackDown, but only one of them knew what was happening
Mhm.
was a fun thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
So long
I do
as,
think
it doesn't
as much
lead
as
to
I don't
trios titles, I'm okay with it.
we need a company that can do trios titles properly.
I don't feel
Anyways,
like even NXT could at this point.
I'm a dickhead, don't worry about it.
No, but
Well,
it's true.
technically
Who
for our
really has handled their trios in any way that feels
I mean, I
worthwhile
don't
or realistic?
I'm not up on my ROH history, so I don't know how well
ROH
that
had decent, but I mean, a lot of times it's just like
apparently
the
AAA
things
has
fall
them.
apart. Yes,
AAA
they
has them
do.
because they included them in the run-up for the match last night between, Abismo Negro and El Fiscal,
Yeah, but
which was a fun
besides
match, by
that,
the way. Fun match with a really short ending, but a fun match
very, very
nonetheless.
brief, but still. Yeah,
Goddamn. Okay, anybody listening to my voice right now, if you haven't watched night 3 of Rey de Reyes, go check out the four-way cruiserweight title match between,
what's his name?
who was it?
TJ.
Um, Laredo Kid, Dragon Lee, TJP, and Jack Cartwheel.
Is there anyone better
Fantastic.
than TJP right now in that fucking
Yeah,
company? I mean,
once he decided he exists again, I told you he was going to be work rate Miz. He's
yeah,
work rate Goth Miz.
and he's delivering.
And he should have won. I'm sorry. I like Laredo Kid. I'm happy for his like what is it like 2,000 day title reign,
Yeah.
whatever the hell it is. But goddamn,
But again, that's what
and
I'm tired of. Like, I miss the Attitude Era times where, like, oh, The Rock took the belt tonight. Then it's Triple H, you bastard. Then it's Stone Cold, you son of a bitch. You know, like it just kept going round and round.
yeah.
I feel like
But I think a
we're
lot. We're dealing with a lot of AAA history that was history before
for the
WWE had
company.
its hands
But
on
I'm
it.
saying it
So they
not even
can't.
just in that regard, but if you think of it too as, oh, well, yeah, we've been down this road before, but instead of finding a new way to elevate it, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
I
But
think there's two matches right now, actually three, that I'm really looking forward to in AAA, and it's El Grande Americano after winning the Rey de Reyes sword, taking on Dominic Mysterio. We are
yes,
setting up for Vikingo versus Penta for the IC title, and it looks like the next match we have for the Cruiserweight Championship is going to be Laredo Kid versus Rey Fenix. And how's that not going to be good?
yeah, we know that'll be excellent.
There's
So,
so much shit coming up, man.
yeah.
Anyways, Jasper Troy, Keanu Carver, Josh Briggs is the referee. This match doesn't get a finish.
Yeah, I think if it does, I mean, maybe because Briggs does something and that could lead to a rematch as well, but I'm just not sold entirely on it yet.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
it'll be
Josh
good for
Briggs,
the show, but
I
I don't
don't
think it'll go further really much with like another
see
match
here.
on Stand and Deliver.
Here's the thing is he doesn't have a particular issue with Keanu Carver or Jasper Troy specifically. He just stuck himself into this match because it was the way to get himself on the card. So I
Yes.
think he'll go in there with the attitude of it's so fucked up that I have to come out here as a zebra in order to get on the card. So I'm not
Yes.
even going
Look
to
at
do
my
it. So just like
stripes. I'm just worried that he might
he'll
make it about himself in it
but I
intentionally.
think I think
That's
it's
the
one of
point.
those it's one of those guest referee spots where it is kind of the point. Normally, I would agree with you, but I
Yeah,
think in this case, it's the entire point. So
it
I just
really
think
is. Yeah.
he'll like watch pin it back and do nothing.
Mm, possibly. I mean, and that's
Or
unfortunate
he'll like
too.
clothesline. That's what it'll be. He'll wait till they beat the shit out of each other. He'll clothesline both of them and count his own pin on both of them.
On both of them, yeah. I mean, that would be
I think that would
nuts.
be a lot.
That could be
You know what else
fun
would
if
be a lot
they
of fun?
did it right there.
We got another
What's
number
that?
one contender match. We got another
Ah,
number one
indeed we
contender
do.
match. Kendall Gray versus Lola Vice. How
I
good is this
am
going to be?
so big on Kendall Gray. I really enjoy
I am
her.
too.
She kinda came out of left field for me, like, I saw things on the independents, but very briefly. I wasn't keeping up with it like I usually do, and she appears, and holy hell, is she just awesome. She's, really good in every way that's, like, crucial right now. She doesn't like, she's still got a lot to learn, but she's developing in a fun, organic way in front of the fans, and the way that she
Mhm.
just gets better and better, more people are interested in her. So, I love that. I love her teamed up with good old Ran QCC, and sign me up for this match. I worry because I feel like, all right, Lola's already got the other title, but they wanna cement her as, like, the girl. I just don't feel like, as over as she is, I would give this to obviously Kendall, because Kendall has the entire built up history so far with every member of JC's crew. So, the Fatal Influence
I
gals
think
have
they've
all
got
gotten
the
involved in her business.
I think they've got the open door right now with Lola Vice, and we keep talking about it, but it is true. Lola Vice has the dual contract with NXT and AAA. As you mentioned, she's already the mixed tag team champion with Mr. Iguana, who's got an iguana.
He's got an
Uh,
iguana.
there we go. I do think she's going to be the one to grab the title and take it away from Las Toxicas, and
Yes.
she she has the ability to be the face of a division. I just think that they're going to make her the face of that division because
Yeah.
they don't do very much with the ladies division in AAA, at least from what I've seen so far. There are
It is
ladies
sparse.
there, like
Yeah.
we've seen the ladies from Lost Toxicas, we've seen like Fabi Apache, we've seen some other um ladies
Yeah.
kicking
A
around there whose
few
names
here and there, but nothing.
the names aren't even coming to mind, and that's kind of the
And
problem.
that's, yeah. And
Lola
especially,
Vice, again, not to whittle it down to like marketing, but Lola Vice is somebody you put on a poster and be like, okay, fucking it's Lola Vice. She's defending her title. I'll go see her.
yeah.
And because they can do that with her on the other side, that frees her up to do as much work as she can to make Kendall Gray look as good as she can, who doesn't
Yes.
need much help in the first place because
No.
Kendall Gray's already great. So there's there's an element of Lola Vice doesn't lose by losing here. Kendall
Oh,
Gray only
certainly.
wins. Kendall Gray only wins by winning because she's the one that we've pictured in this slot for about 6 months now. Stand and deliver. Who's going to finally be the one to dethrone JC Jane? Well, Kendall Gray's right there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Um,
So,
yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I think it's kind of obvious. I think the path for Lola Vice is slightly different, but I think this flexibility that she has, being on the two shows constantly is kind of cool, something they can play with. I hope they don't become completely like fluid rosters because then it's just a mess. But if you got one or two, like right now, who are the unrostered people in WWE? It's like Brock Lesnar, Obafemi, Roman Reigns, and Danhausen
yeah.
are the ones that don't have a home brand. So for the layer just under main roster WWE to have the crossover be Lola Vice,
Mhm.
it's not a bad pick, to be fair.
No.
And Kendall Gray is fantastic, and it's babyface as well. So it could just be Kendall Gray gets the upper hand. They ended on a handshake. They can revisit stuff later on. Also, Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair are going to get into the tag title picture at some point. You'd have
Yes.
to believe that if they still had the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, that they would have them already. But the tag picture, it's not being handled super great on the main roster, but it's already pretty crowded on the main roster. So the dream that I have of some NXT representation at WrestleMania when it comes to the women's tag team titles is kind of going out the window.
Yes. And it really is,
But
just like shock
but the
factor.
ladies but the ladies keep killing it on NXT because also not for anything other than for reasons. We got Kalani Jordan versus Jada Parker, and they're just going to kick the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
and it's gonna be great. Kalani Jordan is awesome. Jada Parker is over as shit. Kalani Jordan and Carmelo Hayes just the other day were on social media announcing 7 months from their impending nuptials. So congratulations to them.
That's incredible.
That's a
Awesome.
it's a it's a hell of a wedding dress that she's chosen. I'm just saying that. And
Yeah.
that very last photo in the slideshow, Mr. Photographer, I see you. I know what you're
Yeah.
on. I know what you're on, buddy. It's okay. It's all good. Um, Thing is, I don't have much to say about this one. Jada's over as hell. I'm pretty sure she's gonna win. Kalani Jordan is so solid right now in this heel character that she's playing because she's really like immature and petulant and bitchy, but also like underneath that, there's a level of like vindictiveness that's
Yeah.
becoming more and more believable. I'll say it again. Another one that hugely benefited from crossing over and going and spending some time in TNA, just growing
Yes.
her character.
No
Um,
doubt about it. So,
it's their version of going on excursion at this point. It really is. Um, and yeah, it's not for anything, which is kind of annoying. You kind of have to put those imaginary pieces together of like, once we get past Stand and Deliver, these are two of your next contenders. Like if Kendall Gray wins, then you got Kalani Jordan going after Kendall Gray. That's an entire new generation of NXT Women's World Champion title
yeah,
picture.
absolutely.
Uh, because we talked about it, like they kill it with the women's division on this roster, but as far as replacing those main people at the top of the tier after Stephanie and Julia and Jordan Grace and even somebody like Kiana James, who goes really underappreciated, after they all like swept off and left, they struggled other than JC Jane to sort of rebuild that top of the tier. But Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan, Kendall Gray, Jada Parker, they're all right ripping and ready to be the, like I said with Carmelo and Trick, they're
Yeah,
right ready to be the post WrestleMania story. These ladies are all like jockeying for position to be the post Stand and Deliver Oi 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 title pitcher. And
pretty
it's
much.
cool to
Yeah.
see. It's cool to see, but for this particular night that we're talking about, they're all kind of in holding patterns, which is like we're all edging a little bit. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Last thing we're going to talk about is I kind of think it's going to be the main event, even though I don't really have a case for it being the main event, other than the fact that there's a guest. Dark State, this time being represented by Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, and Saquon Sugars, taking on OTM and Mike Santana.
And as we mentioned, Santana having not such a great weekend, but showing up here, he is excited, going to be in New York. I imagine OTM gets the win here. Pretty much
I,
that will be that's
best
Dark
part of
State's that is unfortunately their like, deal right now. They just seem to get beaten at this point. So,
and see, as far as like take Mike Santana out of the equation for a second, but like Dark State are the team in this match that I care about.
I know. I know.
I don't dislike OTM. I just don't care about them. They're a couple of big guys that are super athletic, sure. Dark State as a unit, character wise, I don't buy them, but in the ring as a combination, they're really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Mike Santana with it was obviously a pre-recorded promo that they just kind of sent in, but I like the way he ended off the promo with what did he say? He said like wipe your feet before you step into my city.
Yes.
That's a really it's a cheesy line, but it's cheesy in a good way. Like you're stepping into the garden, you're stepping into my city, make sure you wipe your feet.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That was a great
And
line.
people are so mad. Oh, it's not really the garden, it's just the theater at Madison Square Garden. It's the theater
Does
at what?
it matter?
No. But first of all, it's the theater at what?
Yeah. Madison Square Garden.
They're
Exactly.
at they're at the garden rather than in the garden. Who the fuck cares?
Mhm. Well, apparently some people do because God forbid, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the first night and second night argument of Mania that continues on. I mean, I get it, but
I'm
whatever,
sorry.
it still counts to
Okay.
me.
I was just getting on people for being picky. That's my picky thing.
Right? See? To each
The
our
first
own,
night,
but
the first night main event is a main event. It's not the main event.
exactly.
Cody Rhodes finishing the story could not have happened on Saturday.
No, could not have.
So it's not the same.
Exactly. And,
It's
you
the
know,
match before the commercial break. The commercial break just happens to be sleep.
yeah, I will always say, all right, you're the main event of night one, but you're not the main event of WrestleMania. You may have main
Yeah.
evented a part of it, but you're not the main event.
Yeah.
You're not why people are there to see these things. So
Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, and I'm sorry, put anybody else in their shoes that they just happen to be the ones in those shoes. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks did not do what Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch did.
yes, exactly.
You are not the main event if you are not the last thing that people saw or talked about WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, not at
And
all.
no,
So
that does not mean whatever happens on Raw before people come at me with some like bad faith arguments. The match should be fun. The unfortunate thing about this is I wouldn't give a shit about OTM if Mike Santana wasn't teaming with them.
yeah,
He's gonna add something to this match. Not that I want to speak for somebody else and the bad Friday they had. It's probably good that after that happened on Friday with Macklin, that Santana has something else new and cool to focus on.
yes, he's got.
I'm gonna go to
He's not just sitting waiting for TNA to happen. So
yeah. Well, they would have done a taping
yes, that's what I'm
yesterday or
saying though.
today.
Like
But like I've got this thing to look forward to. I'm gonna go to NXT. I'm gonna be representing TNA. I'm gonna be representing TNA as our champion. I'm gonna be at Madison Square Garden. It's gonna be a hometown advantage. Like something positive to look forward to after what happened on Friday, which I don't imagine is a fun day for anybody.
anybody, yeah, no,
But
certainly not.
also, so not only is it something to distract him from the bad thing that happened, but he can now go into that distraction with the news that Steve Macklin is actually okay, that all the moving parts and moving pieces of TNA did what they were supposed to do. Especially, I will say it again, Alice Lane, the referee, did her job, put herself as the human wedge between the two of them, made sure everybody was taken care of. It's a super cool ending to a not so great story, and Santana gets to cap it off by performing in the garden. It's
Yeah,
the garden. I
it's
don't care.
the Garden.
The garden will always be the garden, man.
Yeah. But it is working well, you know? It's the Garden, they're still
I
doing
want
the theater is
NXT to take
great.
over Madison Square Garden.
I love when they had the towels last time, everybody throwing those in the air, like, it just gave it this
Yep.
look of the larger than life thing, and if you're only gonna sell 4K tickets, why go to a 10,000 seat arena where it doesn't look packed?
Fair.
Go to
Yeah.
the 4K place where matters some, and that's what I'm thinking here, so
Yep. Yep. And the same thing would go for the all the conversations we have about AEW and all that kind of thing. But like I hope AEW fans are also doing, as an NXT fan, I want them to go to a bigger building because I want them to be able to fill a bigger building. So let's
yes.
look at some of the things that aren't working. Yes, much like TNA, you've got a lot of awesome women on your roster. Pick a new one and go with them and put them at the top. A whole bunch of mid carders, pick a head and give that division a new head because you're going to
Yeah,
lose JC Jane at some point.
exactly. Give 'em a
You're gonna
chance here.
I'm sorry, you're gonna lose Jada Parker sooner than later. You're going to lose Kalani Jordan sooner than later. Lola Vice might go and spend more time in AAA.
Yeah,
Sol Ruka and Zarya, who are fighting each other at Stand and Deliver, oi oi oi, at least one of them is going to be leaving soon. So you've got this awesome mid card. Pick somebody out of there, make a new star. Probably going to be Kendall Gray, but surprise me. Make it Kalani Jordan. Make it Jada Parker. Make it Lola Vice. Make it Ren Sinclair. Bring in some more
yeah,
creepy people. Bring back Wendy Chu. She's doing creepy that.
yeah.
Can you
There's so many
imagine
things that we could
imagine
have here.
imagine a Wendy Chu introduction in a stadium? Like, it's fine. The
I
the
know.
the creepy alarm clocks and the creepy, pillows and stuff, and I'm not gonna go any farther down the pillow route
Yeah,
because that'll get weird. But yeah, we got a lot to look forward to. As I say, Stand and Deliver is already sort of set in place. Bourne and Gargano, Sol Ruka, Zarya, the four-way for the men's title, which is going to be a whole other conversation next week. We got two number one contender matches to set up challengers for the Vanity Project, set up challengers for JC Jane. What happens to JC Jane and the rest of Toxic or Fatal Influence? Those are all conversations we can have later on this week when we talk about Stand and Deliver. Oi, oi, oi. For now, Jake, tell them where to find you. Tell them what you're up to. We got lots of stuff coming up.
Yes, indeed. You can go ahead and you can find me over on YouTube. It's youtube.com/countdownended or Jake DeMarco. You can enter either to take you right there. You can subscribe because we're live after all WWE and NXT PLEs and weekly live shows. We've got the Raw review. We've got our NXT coverage. This week, we've got our Stand and Deliver, oi, 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 preview and predictions on Into Somewhere Weekly this Wednesday. Thursday, Game Night returns. And we've got more Pyro Wrestling Live, our own take on the 2K26 craze that is sweeping the nation. Our champion Shrek recently lost his title to the returning and no longer retired John Cena, coming in as Peacemaker. So you're going to want to see what happens there. But follow us on Twitter at Countdown Ended for show notes, updates, and so much more. And thank you to Spaz, as always, for having us here.
All right, get in the comment section and participate in Predicto. I want this to be a thing. Otherwise, I've been Spaz. This has been Jake. This has been your preview for not Stand and Deliver, for Roadblock. It's your NXT at MSG go home show to Stand and Deliver. Oi, oi, oi. And we've also talked about a lot of TNA stuff coming out of Sacrifice, the MLP deal, the NXT deal, and all kinds of other fun stuff. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me and Super Sexy Jake are tagging out. Bye, guys.
It's Predicto.
Glorious.